All right, folks, welcome to another What's Your Story. Man, oh man, am I thrilled. I am thrilled. This guy, that's right, NERDPOREAL is in the house. It's going to be so much fun to get to talk to him, and hopefully you guys are already subbed, but if not, check everything out there in the description. Make sure you connect. My brother, thank you so much for hanging out with me, my friend.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate it. I've been waiting. I've been wanting to be on your show since I was 10. Like ever since I was 10 years old back in 95, I was like, I want to be on Pops's YouTube channel. Does that make any sense? No, but still.
No, but you know what? It's okay because it's like ceremoniously been grandfathered in. It seems appropriate. It seems appropriate. I've been doing stuff like this for so long. Yeah, you would definitely be more interested than my children at that point. But I can see that. So, well, listen, brother. Before we get too far away from stuff, let's just do a quick elevator pitch for someone who's new to NERDPOREAL, doesn't know much about your story or anything like that. Give everybody a little elevator pitch of you doing the YouTubes and that kind of thing.
Sure. So I've been going back to YouTube started when I was in college, and most of the content I saw on YouTube was pretty cringe to me. It was all just like either like dumb humor or really violent stuff, or which sometimes is funny, but a lot of times it's not. Just really childish stuff, like all these edgelords out there who like they all like nowadays with all the political correctness. Now they're saying, oh, you shouldn't say these things, when they were doing this decade, like at least 2 decades ago. So I never really got into it until I noticed entertainment was making a shift. So first I noticed was Star Trek Into Darkness, which I really wanted to like, because I did enjoy the 2009 film at the time. But then when when Star Wars came about, the Disney trilogy, especially The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and then New Trek, and then Game of Thrones, and then all this, it just got to a point where I just wanted to hear. I started getting dissatisfied with the media, especially the access media. So like your IGNs, your Screen Rants, and your Colliders and all that, who they say all these positive things when there's something clearly wrong. So there's a disconnect right there. So I wanted to find some connection with content creators on YouTube who felt differently, and I found a whole bunch of people, and I found a community, a fellowship, and I started. And there's one channel everybody knows, Nerdrotic. Nerdrotic was telling people to, you want to start a channel, do it. And I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about the fact that I'm a big Star Trek fan. So I'm a big Nintendo fan, and I'm a big Star Trek fan. Those are my two biggest things. Star Trek has become very different, and I wanted to start a channel to showcase why early Star Trek is what's really good, and the new stuff is just, typical action schlock. And not even that, not with New Trek. So I made the channel, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to make a video about Star Trek. I was like, you know what, then I'll make a video about Nintendo, and I'll talk about my personal experiences. And it ended up starting making retrospectives on things that I really love. So my channel is basically making things that I really like, whether it's a movie retrospective, a video game retrospective, or me recommending a TV show, or more recently an anime show. So
what's your experiences been like doing like live streaming versus making videos and stuff?
Well, videos is a lot more work. Videos, I have a very strict process. It's a very long process. Research has to be done. Then I have to, usually take notes, and then I write a script. Then I have to proofread the script, which I probably should do more of, because grammar has been escaping me ever since I was in high school, ever since I took the ACT. 3, I have to record myself, which, I don't like to make multiple takes, but sometimes I have to, because, we all stutter, we all make mistakes sometimes. And then of course there's the audio editing, getting rid of all the background noise. And then once I'm done and I import that as an MP3, then the big part comes, the video editing. I create all my own clips from scratch on Adobe Premiere Pro. And so I basically put in the audio. I always have like an opening montage, and hopefully I can get away with using scores from movies or Video games I have no problem with. The copyright bots don't really hit me for video game soundtracks, but movie soundtracks, there's Veres Sarah Blonde, the record company that's based in Australia. I've gotten hit by freaking, I don't know if there's Australia, but somewhere. And also, I mean, heck, even the Symphony Orchestra, the Sydney Symphony Orchestra, known for the Opera House, I got hit by them too for using Joe Hisaishi stuff from the Studio Ghibli films, especially like Castle in the Sky and all that for an opening for a live stream. But the video stuff takes a lot of time. So when I feel like a video is basically a full project, and when I finish a video, it feels like a weight's been lifted, and I look forward to uploading it. But even when I upload it, I have to cross my fingers in case, because once it goes through the upload, then it goes through the checking part, the copyright, getting past copyright. So I always have to keep my fingers crossed, because it's weird how it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it passes, sometimes it doesn't. So
right.
But that's video. Live streams are much more simple for me.
Yeah. So is it more, because with videos though, you go through all that work and it's almost like a cost. It's almost like a cost benefit thing. Like the amount of work that you're doing and the benefit isn't always there. And you're like, oh, I did all that for how many views? And then you do a live stream. And you're like, maybe I didn't get a lot of people, but I had a lot of fun hanging out with everybody and cutting up and chatting and whatever. So it's kind of a difficult thing to advise, let's say, a new YouTuber or somebody who's like, I should do a channel. What's Brian say? Like, oh, I don't know.
the videos from my end are more successful than the live streams. So like for instance, my longest video I ever did, my longest project I ever did, and I had to split into 3 parts because the entire script was 40 pages. A Nintendo 64 game called The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, a game that I love. It's one of the most timeless games. It's part of the reason why I got into like fantasy and Red Lord of the Rings and start getting into fantasy in general. And that took me a whole month to edit. And I started with maybe 150, 200 views within like the first 2 weeks. Then a couple months later, it just blew up. Like the algorithm just decided, oh, there's this video here. We're going to promote this. Why? Don't know. And then I was like, whoa. So then all of a sudden it went from like 300 to like 30K or something. Wow. within like a month or two. Especially I think it was last December. And then the same thing's been happening for other videos that I made 2 years ago. Like one video I made 2.5 years ago, still at this point has been boosted in the algorithm for no reason that I know of, because I didn't do anything. So the only thing I updated was the thumbnail, and that was months ago. So it's weird how that works. But but going back to the live streams I usually do a one-on-one live stream, unless it's like a series of stuff. So for instance, the Chillporials is basically me and usually a member or a former member or someone who's been supportive of me in the past. I'll bring them on. We have a chill stream and we just talk about whatever. And I hate to toot my own horn, but the last couple of people I've had on have literally went to Twitter and say, this stream was awesome. Thank you, NERDPOREAL, for having me on. It was such a blast. And I'm just like, wow, I didn't think I was that good. But I mean, some people have told me I was their favorite person to stream with, because I don't really force people to, do things. I mean, if we're going to cover a movie, I'll say, hey, watch the movie and that's it. And then bring whatever you can. And if you can't, that's fine. So
and they're great conversations, and it's fun to just kind of I listen to a lot of stuff at 1.5 to 2 speed, because we in the content creator community make so much content. There's no way to watch absolutely everything, so a lot of while it's just fun to have on. I got to be honest, and you kind of have a gift for that sort of like casual conversation, everything feeling very natural, and I think that's why people are giving you those compliments. So, what's been like the biggest surprise? I mean, you've gone from reluctant content creator to this massive video project creator and live streamer and that kind of. What's been one of the biggest surprises that you've had from all this?
Honestly, I didn't think I would. I honestly didn't think this would be as positive of an experience as it was. Now I've heard horror stories about a lot of people having drama and all that, but And I've had issues myself with, you know, I've always had a hard, when I was a kid, I always had a hard time getting along with people, whether it was at school or, you know, or, you know, sometimes getting along with the bosses at work and stuff. So I've always been a little bit of a social outcast, a social loner, so to speak. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able, and I have ADD, so sometimes I have a hard time listening to people. So I've been really trying to practice active listening to improve my listening skills and to be able to connect better with people. So I was surprised how easy it was for me to make online friends, because I've never had online friends before. This was a brand new thing for me. This was like people I've never met. It's hard for me to describe. It's hard for me to describe.
Well, I've made the analogy or comparison. Say post COVID, this is this really new thing, and it's currently hard to get your head around, because if we were around the clock to like 10, 15, 20 years ago or whatever, it seems like weird, creepy AOL chat roomy stuff when you try to describe it to people. And now you're like, no, I know everything about this person, and we hang out regularly and we talk about all this stuff. We have all this stuff in common. And it's just, my wife sometimes must be like, which one is that? Which nerd are you talking about now? Like, she knows a few of them, but you know, it's like, yeah. So yeah, I get you, man. It's definitely an interesting thing, because I think most of us are like that. Most of us are not the cool kids from school. You know, we were younger, you know, the stuff that we're into, you talked about sci-fi and fantasy, and I was like a major comic book superhero nerd before comic books or superheroes were remotely cool. And it's like, now it's like, oh, I got all these people and they all like the same stuff I do.
Yeah. And it's really cool. And it's just, it's opened my mind. I mean, I've always tried to have an open mind when it comes to, you know, new things. But still, at the same time, if it's something I know, that if I know there's a problem, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest about it, and I'm going to be honest about what I feel and about what I like and everything. So I'm not just going to, I'm not going to feign or, you know, give faux praise to something that clearly doesn't deserve it. And it seems like everything nowadays has been getting that type of treatment. I mean, the newest Wheel of Time series, for instance. I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with Wheel of Time, but
zero. I've not heard anything positive from people like yourself and Salty and everyone else. It's like, nope, I'm out. It's in the Rings of Power. I'm like, it got such a. I didn't make it out of the first episode. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. And it's like, it's not like any of you have said, hey, it turns the corner and it gets, no, none of you have said that. So I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it.
It's like, I mean, like, and this is supposed to be the first adaptation of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series. Now it's a 14-book series. It's a very long series. I'm only 3 books. I'm only on the 4th book, and the 4th book has been a bit of a drag for me, but that's neither here nor there. But the first 3 books are really, really good. They are very good. They're very well told stories. You feel like you're in another world, and there's a lot of things that happen. There's bad guys doing bad things. Remember back in the day when, you know, movies and TV shows had bad guys that were bad, you know, and
just evil for the sake of evil. Like
evil,
like afraid don't do that anymore.
Well, yeah. just like being like when a bad guy walks into a room, you're like, oh crap, what's going to happen? You know, like you feel that tension. Nowadays, you don't. Like nowadays, you feel sorry. Like especially with this new Wheel of Time series, you feel sorry for the bad guys, because the heroes in this Wheel of Time season 2 are more villainous than the villains. Yeah.
Sounds like most of my comic books, where so many of these comic book characters I'm told I'm supposed to love, and I'm like, yeah, wait, they're being physical. Like that's a crime. Like that's the crime they're supposed to prevent, not like commit. Like what are we doing? Like this like weird, bizarre behavior that, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And it's like they completely disregard like events from the book. It's like imagine if Peter Jackson disregarded very important aspects to the Fellowship of the Ring.
True.
I mean, that's basically what Rafe Judkins did to The Eye of the World, which is the first, you know, Wheel of Time book. He basically glossed over like awesome fights and awesome sequences and a literal battle just so that we could feel. I mean, I'm gonna repeat what other people have said. Better channels have said. Feelings in hallways, feelings in corridors. drama at tables and sex, basically, and not even the sex, it's just, people dressed and just smooching, that's it, or Eskimo kissing.
I did a retrospective because I've been trying to do these on Fridays, like me getting more into like social justice, culture war conversations of different things. And there was this thing about Ally McBeal, because Stephen Ransom gets credit for this show idea, whatever. And someone saw this Ally McBeal thing I did. They're like, "You watched Ally McBeal?" I was like, "It wasn't weird back then." Now I feel like Ally McBeal is like the template for all these shows. Like they want like this, what you're saying about Ring of Power, and we see with Wheel of Time. It's like, well, they're just going to talk about their feelings and relationships. They're going to sit around and talk about food. They're going to be walking from place to place. And I'm like, does anything ever happen? Like we just no. And it's not one show. It's an epidemic that runs across so many shows. I couldn't agree more. So you get a lot of heat for that. You get a lot of heat for, dunking on something that people like. Or I don't know how many people do like it. I don't know. I'm not in a circle, so I don't know. I'm in a circle where we tend to agree on almost everything. And when we have disagreements, it's about like scale. I always say it's like a degree. Like this matters more to you. Like it would be like Loki, finding someone who doesn't care that they crap on Infinity Stones like I do. Like it bothers me beyond all get out. Other people are like, it doesn't really bother me. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to have to agree to disagree. But there's other things where like it's like scale, right? It's like a perspective. No, I don't run this. It's Ally McBeal era. It's just all bad to me. I just can't do it.
I remember I was a kid in the 90s, so I remember the commercials because I used to watch Fox all the time, and I remember the commercials for Ally McBeal because I always watched The Simpsons. Simpsons would always be on after school, so I always see Ally McBeal, and I never watched. Only thing I know about Ally McBeal was that Janosch from Ghostbusters 2 is in that show. Peter McNichol.
Right. Yeah, Peter McNichol is. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And Harrison Ford is married to Callista Flockhart. That's the only thing. And she's a lawyer. Ally McBeal's I think it's a law show, or is it not a law show?
It's supposed to be like a legal dramedy comedy, whatever. I don't know. It's what She-Hulk was supposed to be, I guess, is what we were told. So
I thought She-Hulk was supposed to be Sex in the City. Sex in the City.
Oh no, I think I was told Ally McBeal. Like it's supposed to. It was pitched as a Ally McBeal show, and like a type of Ally McBeal show, and they didn't want it, and that's how it got shoehorned with She-Hulk. That's what I
see.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So your journey sounds very similar to a lot of us, and is that? I mean, to me, that's also very welcoming. Like I was very surprised because I came from like a radio background. I came from like website work where it's very lonely. Like you're just in a room with a computer and you're like the press guy. No one likes the press. That hasn't changed. It's worse now than it was when I was doing it because I was the guy at least trying to just like, I'm just here to tell you what happened. I don't really care about the fighting. So I wasn't in that club either. And it was like, all right, well, I'll do this YouTube thing more. And everybody was like, all right, we'll see how that goes. And I'm like, wow, everybody here, I'm getting along with everybody. It's just kind of weird for me. I'm not quite used to it, but we all kind of have a very similar journey in a lot of ways. So,
yeah, I mean, literally feels like I started a business, and I mean, like literally besides like reaching out to like other people that follow like Neurotic, Critical Drinker, and all of them, Robert Meyer Burnett. I went to one of the meetups back in 2021. So I started my channel. My first video I ever uploaded was April 13th, I believe, of 2021. So I started reaching out saying, hey, I got a channel. I'm talking about this because I was looking at what people were talking about, and trying to shilling for myself on chat, Some people don't like that. So I was kind of doing that at first. So that's how I started getting subscribers, and then people started finding my videos. People started liking my videos. And I got a lot of help. And then I went to the meetup in Las Vegas, and I met a whole bunch of people. And I just I got into other people's channels. People, I put myself out there. And then eventually, a 1 year hit, and I decided, I'm going to show my face, and I haven't stopped showing my face ever since. Every channel I'm on now, I always show my face. Everybody knows what I look like anyway. So I'm actually pretty comfortable doing this. I used to stutter. I still kind of stutter when I especially if I don't adequately prepare, notes or
Right.
bullet points, for a stream. Sometimes I'll stutter and try and struggle to remember what I wanted to ask or something. But other than that, I mean, I've really improved my communication, especially because if I had to have a presentation, I'd freeze. Like, how some people fight or some people fly, I freeze. That's what I do.
But aren't you your worst enemy with that though? Like I have like a
Yes.
speech impediment. Like I went to a speech therapist when I was a kid. I have like ADD before we were diagnosed with ADD. Like before we had those letters, I have all
Yeah.
those letters. So I've got to a point now where, unlike you, I don't do month-long editing projects. I'm like, nope, not going to do it anymore. So I just all my ums and pauses, and I just like, I'm just going to keep on rolling. And I don't really get hate. I mean, every now and again, I'll get like a newbie who'll just come out of the blue from the algorithm and be like, you're so boring. And, oh, you just sit there and you're just droning on about this show and hating on it and whatever. And I'm like, uh-huh. Yep, that's me. I'm just me. What did you want me to do? And it's like they want to be pat on the back and told that I feel the way they feel, or they want they want the showmanship and the flames and the name calling and the F bombs and what. And
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm just somewhere in the middle. Very similar
I
to you.
Yeah, I don't get that very often. Majority, like once again, a lot of the stuff I get is positive, but there's points where I've done videos where people are like, this is not a retrospective. You don't put enough of your own takes. You basically retell the events of the game. It's more like a guide. And I'm like, no, it's still retrospective. I still do talk about my history with the thing, and I do give takes. I like to retell the story too. Now, maybe I should put in my own points and do that while we're telling the story as a way to improve in the future. But it's funny. I actually respond to every comment. I usually lately, whenever people, especially with the latest boom in my link to the past video, that's the Super Nintendo Legend of Zelda. I say, thank you for watching. If you're interested, please check out the channel, see if there's something that interests you. And what I always say, stay NERDPOREAL. So, that's why I try to build relationships. One of my friends got married back in 2017, and he gave his speech during the reception. And I'm not a big fan of weddings. I'm single, and just I don't know. I find weddings kind of boring, but his speech was one thing about like his speech, the groom's speech, was very, very inspiring. And that's kind of what, I mean, it was years until I actually, had the nerve to start the channel. But when he said about how grateful he was and how he wants to continue to build relationships is kind of my mantra going forward. Okay. So when it comes to having people on the channel, a lot of people will say, hey, if you're interested in being on my channel, let me know. And I'm like, every time I see that, I'm like, dude, don't do that. Invite people to your channel. Invite them. I usually like to have one-on-ones because it's easier for me to concentrate on a single conversation than having like some people can have like 9 or 10 people. Then it gets kind of out of control and everybody starts talking over each other. But I invite people on and I just have a one-on-one conversation. I make sure they enjoy themselves, they're comfortable, and I make sure I'm comfortable and I'm enjoying myself too. I always have a smile on my face like I'm doing now.
That's awesome. And you know what? Because we can just hang out. And I think that's what's the fun thing. Because I've been really refocusing a little bit. I'm going to be on with, if you guys haven't seen it, go check out I'll try. I don't know. I don't know. I'll remember to put a link in, but I'll be on with Pacific 414. He kind of wants to do a Pops talk with Pops, which is kind of a weird phraseology for me, but
Mike's a good guy.
Mike's a great guy. Yeah. And it's like, because I'm just kind of in like redirecting because I've gotten away from like the comic shop focus of what I kind of wanted to do. I wanted this to be a piece of helping give people the stuff that's good, not just talk about it, right? I wanted to have comics to sell. I wanted to have merch to sell. I wanted to, have that store, because that was really how I viewed this. I viewed this as the guy that was the shop owner. Because I had like a little flea market store. I didn't have like Gary Neurotic, but I had the comic book store, cards. Really love cards from like in the late 80s and the 90s, right? I had like 4 years because I was in college and whatever. That's what I wanted. And I've kind of gotten away from working on those because the content creation can just take up a lot of time.
It does.
And I've been trying to refocus on that. And part of it is like, look, we just hang out for a little while. Let's get NERDPOREAL on. Let's just, I don't know, we're going to talk about where we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about things. And I always think, well, Brian, when you got that one guy that's out there, he's at 78 subscribers. He's done 15 videos. He's done a live stream that was a disaster in his mind or whatever. What do you say to encourage that person that's like, oh, this is a lot of work. I don't see numbers. I don't, give him a little word of encouragement to let him know, listen, here's where I was.
I mean, just be patient. And once again, go on other streams, start talking to people, especially with very similar interests. So if you do Nintendo content like Mario or Zelda or Metroid, check out some other streamers who have chats and who have viewers, and start participating in chats, and just start having conversations. And then as you're building it up, you build it up, and then you say, oh, by the way, I have a channel and I talk about this stuff. You should check it out. You're like, well, oh, really? What is it? And then you let them know, and then, surprised or not, you might see them comment on your video or leave a like, or the next video you put, they might show up at the premiere. I mean, you never know. And with live streams, it's just I started off very rusty myself. You just if you have questions, just feel free to ask any of us, DM any of us, and just keep doing it, and see how other people talk, and how they ask questions, and how they design their intros or outros. And just keep an eye open for observe how other people do things, but you don't have to copy them. I'm sure if you have ideas of your own, definitely follow ideas of your own, because the one thing that is the most rewarding thing ever is to create something, whether it's a live stream or a dialogue, or in my case, that and a video project, a major video project. Yeah. I mean, it's like creating something from nothing, and it means, and when you have people watching, comment, and they feel like they can relate, and they thank you for it. It's one of the most heartfelt. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever felt, I'll say.
Yeah, I like it whenever I have the reaction to I didn't watch it and you said it was good and I watched it and I loved it, or I haven't watched that in a long time. You talked about it and I watched it, and I'm like, see, that makes me happy, because it's like you're sharing the joy of seeing something with someone else and they enjoy it too. So now you even have more things to talk about. So you're like, I almost want to do a follow-up video or whatever. You also are selling yourself short here a little bit too, because you've had great success with. I need a social media manager or someone to deal with all this, because you've got this incredible Discord community going on. That's in addition to the Twitter stuff where you kind of mentioned the DMs, that kind of thing. That's kind of like part of this communication and the networking that kind of takes place, is to get into that kind of circle a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Discord stuff hasn't been big. I mean, I have a Discord, but nobody ever talks on it, so I'm not sure what I should do with it. But there's, I mean, I'll try to start conversations whenever I have time. I'm not on Discord myself. I know my friends, the White Cloaks, who they along with Prophet of the Dragon, they cover Wheel of Time. Well, the White Cloaks have this. They used to be a subreddit under the Wheel of Time Reddit, basically, criticizing the show until they got banned, because that's what people do now. If you're negative towards a show and one little person says something problematic, you blame everybody, you ban everybody. So, but yeah, they moved all their people to their Discord. It's called the Band of the Red Hands. So yeah, definitely join it. And they just have conversations everywhere, and everything. And my buddy Pips pretty much moderates that server. And when you especially go into the more deeper stuff, like the politics, which is only available to a certain level of people, it becomes a freaking memory hole. It becomes a rabbit hole. and they're all smarter than me. Like, I read it, I'm like, this is too long to read. So I'm like TLDR half the time, like, too long, don't read. So, and everything. So And it's just there's a lot to learn, but yeah, like I'm trying to learn and take cues from what they do to get people to have conversations on mine. And yeah, so I'm still learning this too, learning this stuff too. And Twitter, it's the same thing. Like I recently re-upped my blue check mark to see if I can. And I talk to there's people online that I talk to regularly. Hi King Feanor, who I just had on Chillporial. He's always on Twitter, and his following has grown. He's already surpassed my number of followers, but he gets a lot more engagement than I do, despite the fact that I have the same amount of followers. So I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong or what he's doing right. So so I haven't mastered social media yet.
So how do you manage your time with, day job type responsibilities, creating content, trying to write, trying to plan, trying to schedule? It's just it's a lot of balls in the air, so to speak. So what's your approach?
Well, I honestly should be a little bit more organized. But when I'm not, I'm pretty usually when I'm not, when I'm not going out, when I don't have any engagements going on, I usually think, what do I want to do next? And I get the ball rolling on that. So I just reached out to you. We're going to be doing a serial horror chat because I want to get serial horror chats back up. It's October, already October. I couldn't believe it because I've been doing all the Wheel of Time stuff with my friends. And I was like, oh shit. Excuse me. Oh crap. It's October. So I want to get that going again. I really enjoyed doing them last year. So this is season 2. I already did one on Saturday with Dred Roberts for The Fly. So definitely check that out. It was a great conversation. He really enjoyed it. And I can't wait to do the one with Pops. We're going to be covering Carrie, and that's going to be a fun one. So, but yeah, so I reach out to people, and then I get the ball rolling on that, and I get the ball rolling on Chillporial, which is my other stream I'm going to be having on Thursday. So
you kind of work with that, and you kind of work out from there. Basically, sounds
like. And then I have the video content. Like I have so many videos and so many directions I want to do. I have a movie video I want to do. I have a video game retrospective. I have a anime recommendation I want to do, and then I have this because I just hit 3,000 subs. I have I wanted to do so the milestone videos are usually like an inspirational type of video. So when I hit 100, I create some lore, like what does it mean to be nerdporeal, and I basically said everything here that I said in that video, like about making relationships and being positive and all that. Mm-hmm. And for this one, because I always say stay nerdporeal at the end of everything, I'm like, well, I say it, but what does it mean? So I have to flesh that out. But I think it's going to lean towards never give up type of deal, because there's a lot of people my age who feel that they're past their prime, that they can't accomplish certain things in life anymore. And I just want to be there to say, no, it's bullshit. Yeah. It's never too late.
No, the journey's not over. You have stuff you can do. You can have stuff to accomplish. Look at me. I'm all gray hair, barely even half of the number of these things that keep falling out or whatever. And I just kind of keep pushing on. And I'll make a video and it'll get next to nothing for views. People message me sometimes like, why are you making this? I mean, it's fine. I don't mind getting the hits privately even. But it's like, yeah, but someone might see this 5 years from now. Like you talked about this massive delay for the one you had, this boom, the algorithm eventually picks it up. It's like, I see that as well. Just like stuff will happen. I don't even check the numbers regularly enough to even see when some of that stuff does happen. It has to kind of like catch my eye. I'm like, oh crap, that's just like, it's a few hundred views a day. It's like, holy cow, it's like 1,000 views in a week. What happened? I didn't do anything.
Yeah, so, Prophet of the Dragon and Salty Traveling say they call it evergreen content, where it's like it's something that is more timeless than, let's say, a video about like a news announcement or a reaction to what some idiot said on Twitter or something like that, which is, I mean, it's a thing that you check out and then you kind of just go on to the next thing.
Yeah, those are, and again, that's a term that dates back. I mean, oh my gosh, there was a website called Examiner, and that's when I first heard that term. What they were trying to encourage you to balance covering the news versus create evergreen content. Evergreen would be like top 10 Halloween movies to watch in October. It's like it's there forever,
or a recipe or something.
Yeah,
how to make
that. you know, versus me covering the news of this just dropped from Warner Brothers or something. Yeah, that's kind of, it has kind of like a shelf life, so to speak. Like it doesn't tend to get a lot of legs and after the fact, that kind of thing. So that's great. That's great. What do you do to who inspires you, or who has given you words that have inspired you?
Oh, I mean, all my all my fellow content creators who I communicate, who I regularly associate myself with, are very inspirational to me. I usually look to them for, you know, when it comes to asking questions. I've been I've gotten better at analyzing and breaking down shows because of, you know, White Cloaks, Pips, Alex, and Prophet of the Dragon. And I've learned quite a bit from Salty Traveling Sea. He's given me a lot of advice because he's been pretty successful pretty quickly, especially covering Wheel of Time. I've watched his videos and how he edits and how he talks and how he articulates the points he's trying to make. And I watch some of the bigger channels. I've watched how, you know, Nerdrotic talks, and how all those guys, how they have how charismatic they are. And you know, the big thing I learned from Nerdrotic is never partake in any drama. Never partake in any drama. Just be positive and be real. So that's why I try to be. And yeah, I try to be the best. I don't just try to be myself. You don't want to be your entire self. You want to be the best of yourself, and that's why I try to be when I'm online and when I'm, you know, dealing with people. And compared to how I've interacted with people in real life, it's been a breeze to know that there's a lot of people that I feel like I can connect with, and people who are pretty cool. And I was like, I wish I had more of this earlier in life, but you know what? I'm glad to have it now. I'm thankful.
I agree. I close a lot of shows saying make tomorrow better than today.
Absolutely.
Just keep inching along, and you know, it's like the little steps add up to big accomplishments. And sometimes I think I talked to my wife. She was talking about something about the overwhelming feeling that she was having of projects or whatever. I says, you know, you got to eat that elephant one bite at a time. Just, you know,
I always thought it was eat that frog.
Oh, I always heard elephant. Oh, I
don't
know. Frogs seem like a bite frog. A lot of frogs are just one bite. I could just, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe it's because I live in the woods and some frogs are small. Some of them are big. I don't know. So.
But yeah, always just practicing gratitude and humility when you're doing this, because, you know, people, I mean, when it comes to viewers, people don't have to be there now. And so I try to be as grateful and I always say hello to whoever's, coming in the chat and everything. And because my streams are not that big, I can do that. Now, if you're freaking, you know, Nerdrotic and you have thousands of people, it's impossible to do that. So that's why I get why they don't do that. But at the same time, you know, when people watch video and people are nice enough to take the time to leave a comment, I always respond and always thank them. And, you know, say if there's, you know, anything, you know, if there's anything else you're interested, please check out the channel, and I hope you enjoy it and everything.
Awesome, folks. Make sure you check out the description there. Make sure you're subscribed to Brian's channel. Get over there and get NERDPOREAL. Get hooked up and what's going on. There's just tons and tons of great content, kinds of great videos. Yeah, if you were into some of this Nintendo stuff and Zelda stuff, things like that, I mean, these are just a lot of fun, a lot of blast. I really enjoy the chill streams, by the way. I know I may have said that. I don't know if I said that earlier or not, but it's just that great conversation of nerds talking nerdy stuff. To me, it's just, that's what I enjoy the most, to be honest. So, but yeah, it's great to be able to have you on and be able to connect. I'll be on with him soon in a few weeks, folks. We all went talking Carrie. That'll be fun for October. So we'll be doing that as well. And it's just been great to have you on, brother. Thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.